Hello accounting students, here we are, Module 5, Week 5. We've survived the sub-zero temperatures, if you're in the Midwest, of last week, and things are looking a little bit better for us weather-wise this week. Hope everybody's safe and doing well, no matter wherever you live. All right, so let's talk a little bit about what we're doing here in Module 5 in the course. This week we're going to be talking about organizational costing, and one of my favorite areas is profit analysis. Obviously that's important. You want to make sure that the services, products, what have you, you are making money on those. So we'll be talking a little bit about that. We'll have our normal learning activity. This week we'll be doing questions out of the chapter, and let me just pull those up real quickly. So as I mentioned before in one of my earlier videos, that the author of the textbook has this kind of a little bit confusing way of presenting information or questions and problems at the end of the chapter. At the end of each chapter, there is a section of questions, and then there's a section of problems. Okay, that might be a little confusing, but what makes it even more confusing is that they're given the same exact number. That's the problem. If they change the numbers, it'd be fine. But there's a question that's 5.1, and there's a problem that's 5.1. So what I've had students do is sometimes they've done the wrong one, the right number, but the wrong one. For example, they've done a problem when they should have done a question. It's almost always they chose the more difficult of the two. So this week, we're going to be doing all questions, okay? And you know it's a question because it's more written and narrative. If it's got a lot of math in it, it's probably a problem. So that's how the author differentiates the two. So this week will be all questions, more narrative format. Students tend to like that better versus some of the math, so they tend to shy away from that. But that's okay. I think we can do a lot of what we need to do with this course with not a lot of heavy math, but of course it's accounting. So we got some numbers and there'll be a little bit of math along the way. All right, so this week, again, all questions, 5.1 to 5.2. Make sure you're answering, all of the, if there's letters in there, A, B, C, and D, that you're doing all of those. And you're doing nice, well-rounded paragraphs and full thoughts and all of that stuff, and you'll do just great with that. So far, folks are doing really good with learning activities. You probably notice you're getting almost, if not all the full points, you're getting pretty close to it. I'm looking for that good faith effort, that you put some thought into it. Even if you don't have the right answer, you're going to tend to get good points. So if I see something where, let's say it was one of the problems and you didn't get the right number, but you had a real good process in there, you'll practically get maybe 1 point off. Won't be a big deal. So again, good faith effort, you'll do just fine on that. All right, so let's go back to our other activities that we're doing, learning activity, case study. I'll talk about that in just a second. And we got another quiz. Remember, quizzes are the difficult thing of this course, but the point value is kind of skewed lower. So even though you may not do well on the quiz, don't worry about it. Remember too that every quiz that you do, I have to go in and grade typically, because I usually throw 1 or 2 questions in there that have some written response that I have to manually grade. So don't let that initial score throw you, because I got to go in and adjust. So make sure you wait till I've adjusted those scores and you go back and look, and almost everybody gets a little bit of uplift, because on most of those narrative questions, you guys do pretty good on that. So when you are looking at your total performance in the class, make sure you are looking at the total, looking at everything. Did you turn in all your assignments? What were the grades? What's your current point total? How many points should you have at this, at any given point in the course versus how many you earned? And most of you should be pretty happy. I think everybody, pretty solid performance for most folks. We're looking at right now, right at this particular point, majority of the class earning A's, a few B's. And if you are missing some assignments, remember, I do accept late work. There will be a deduction on points to be fair to those people that turned it in on time. But let's say you get half the points for an assignment. It's better than a 0. The zeros will kill you. The zeros in the grade book, that will bring you down by a letter grade eventually if you get enough of them. So do keep that in mind. All right, let me talk about the case study. So this week we have our first case study, and it's going to be on the River Community Hospital. And you have this, take a look at the PDF. The way I would approach the case study is like this. I would review it. Read the questions first. You know how they say, read the questions first. Okay, you've got 5 questions that you need to answer in 1 or 2, most likely 2 full paragraphs. Some of these will be done in 1, but let me tell you, they're not going to be 3-sentence questions or 3-sentence paragraphs. If you're doing that, you're probably not answering the question in enough depth. So you're looking at robust, standard paragraphs, probably 5 sentences in that paragraph, not just filler, good logical thoughts that are introduced and concluded in the paragraph. And you might need 2 paragraphs to do that for some of these questions. All right, but step 1, read the questions. Then step 2, pull up the case study and read that. Give it 1 read and then maybe another, quick skim. You're probably going to come up with some answers after just doing that process. I would write those down, make an outline, whatever you want to do, kind of jot those initial thoughts down. You may not want to go ahead and actually start answering the questions. Let that ruminate for a little while longer. And then maybe towards the end of the week, as you've digested more of Module 5 material, start writing, crafting those answers. Next week, Module 6, you're going to get more information. As you read the chapter, the chapter readings and the videos, more information that you'll be able to apply to the case. Now, here's what I'm looking for. Is that you have taken the information presented in the course up until this point. The important part of this case study is it's not due for 2 weeks. So we still can cover some stuff in Module 5 and in Module 6 that you'll be able to apply to that. And then, of course, Modules 1, 2, 3, and 4 are going to be kind of brought back into this case study. These cases are all very complicated, and they can be overwhelming at first. But just take the knowledge that you have and apply it to the situation. If you're given a fact about it, you'll see these little factoids, and you don't know how to apply it, that's okay. Now, you may know how to apply it in Module 7. You go, oh, that's what that was about. That was the clue. But you didn't know that yet. That's okay. I'm not expecting you to know stuff that we haven't introduced. But I am expecting you to apply what you have learned so far to the case. The other thing students get really anxious about is getting the right answer. For both the case studies in this class, there often isn't a right answer, and I'm not expecting a right answer, and people far smarter than me or anyway, a lot of us have attacked these cases, many of them real world, and they've gotten it wrong too, versus what actually happened in the real world. So, it's kind of sometimes very difficult to get the exact answer for these case studies. But what I am looking for, and the importance of a case study, is process. Did you apply a process? Did you apply, logical and critical thinking? Did you support your argument, for whatever you were listing? So yes, or answering in these 5 questions. So definitely do that and you'll be fine. Again, I'm looking for more process, full thoughts, logical thinking than exact answers. All right, so there is that. Again, remember we have 2 weeks for this case study, so hopefully that brings down the anxiety too. But do start working on it. Again, start fleshing out some ideas. Start writing some outlines for the questions how you're going to answer some of these questions. Then, as you probably end this week and in the beginning of Module 6, you'll start answering the questions. So you're not trying to do this thing over a weekend before it's due. It is worth 125 points. So that puts it kind of in between the value of a midterm and a final. It's worth definitely a letter grade. There's 1,000 points in this course. This is worth 125. Now, I'll tell you that with this course, the one single biggest thing, single biggest thing that has brought students down a full letter grade has been the case studies. And it's not that they did it and bombed, it's that they didn't turn it in at all. So either they got intimidated by the process or what have you. That there's nothing to do. When I can do. When there's a 0 in the grade book, you've just lost 125 points. And definitely just give it your best effort. Apply what you've learned. Use the accounting terms and language that you've learned to this point, and you'll do fine. You'll get 110, 115. Some of you you'll knock it out of the box and get 125. But do that. But don't not turn it in, because that will really this destroys that letter grade. Sometimes I've seen students who have been having A performance all the way through the course, and then they're missed an entire case study because I just didn't want to do it. Okay, well, now you just went down to a B. You could have easily got an A. Even if you didn't do so well in the case, you still could have case study, probably still preserved your A grade. So do these. Good faith effort. I think I beat that to death. Okay, let's talk a little bit about late work. Some of you are missing a couple of items, and yes, that does impact your grade. Zeros in the grade book they can be devastating, especially like in the case study situation. But accumulating zeros on other assignments can be very devastating as well. So I do accept late work. Now, there is a deduction on points. I never go all the way down, where an assignment becomes ineligible to be turned in. I will always give you some points for that. To be fair to the folks who got it in on time, again, you will get a haircut. There will be a reduction on those points. But let's say it's a 50-point assignment and you turn it in and you end up getting 20 or 25 points. That could be the difference that swings you between a letter grade. The zeros in the grade book will definitely bring you down. So know that I will take late work. I will pretty much take it all the way up till the end of the course. But please, don't try to wait that long. But typically, I'll accept that all the way through till the end of the course. I also will be offering some extra credit at a later point. So if you feel that maybe there were a couple of assignments that you didn't do quite as well on, and you added in all your points together, and maybe you think, I got a low A and I don't want to risk it, I want to get a little cushion, you can do that. I'll have some extra credit in there for you. I think we're going to be doing that in module either 7 or 8. I'll introduce a little bit of extra credit for you. So that's going to be out there. Keep that in mind. And quizzes, a couple of you have emailed me about your quizzes, and I've said this a few times, just keep plugging away at the quizzes. The quizzes are definitely meant to be the hardest part, most challenging part of this course, are those quizzes. You think it's this case study, we'll get more freaked out about the quiz grades. Just remember it's a component, but it's not all the components. If you do everything else in the class, including case studies, and you put again that good faith effort into it, you'll do just fine. The vast majority of students do earn A's in this course. And I think the vast majority of students have overwhelmingly felt that the grade they got, matched to the effort. That's what I try to do. Match the effort to which you put into the course. And maybe you got a few things wrong, but if there was great effort, good thought, good attempt, you're going to be, I think, pretty happy with your grade. Now, if you are looking at grade book and there's some missing items in there, maybe I didn't grade, let me know. Let me know about that. Now, I'm still catching up on Module 4 as of right now. I'm shooting this video, but by the end of the week, if there's anything missing in there, please let me know if you turned it in. There could have been something that I just overlooked. So, all right. Well, that concludes what we're doing for Module Week. Hope everybody has a great week. With that, again, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Some of you are doing text messaging, email, all works good. So hopefully we're staying really well connected there. All right, everybody have a great week, and I'll check in with you next week.